Okay, I think people have already, the number of participants is steady now, so I think we can get started. My name is Ana Silva, and I am both member of the ALBA Network Board of Directors, as well as member of the Regional Committee for Latin America of IBRO. So I am very proud to welcome you all to this webinar, in which ALBA Network and IBRO had joined to organize this webinar focused on Latin American processes for dealing with diversity and inclusion issues in neuroscience. So, let me introduce first what these two institutions are working on and are organized to do. So let's start with ALBA. ALBA Network was created in 2019 and is an organization that is trying to assess and was created to address the inequities in academia around the globe and this inequities have are real barriers for underrepresented groups of researchers. So naming the network ALBA, which means sunrise in several languages, relates to the recognition that our scientific communities are beginning to acknowledge the importance of incorporating diversity and ensuring equity in the way we deal with science. So ALBA's mission its central plan is focused on empowering brain scientists to be effective as diversity, equity, and inclusion advocates, sharing data and best practices, recognizing outstanding contributions to science and diversity, providing better visibility and professional development opportunities to neuroscientists from underrepresented regions. And ALBA is doing this for several recent years by developing different activities that tends to cover very different areas of actions. So I think it has been very important to help us all understand how to move from awareness to action. So these are the activities ALBA is working on nowadays. So it has like a awareness and advocacy chapter, and visibility and recognition. It is creating a database for scientists as a resource to have like very well-funded evidence of what we are dealing with in this type of actions, and also networking and mentoring. To do this, and almost to start with this, it was very important, and it is still very important, the declaration that ALBA launched in 2021. This declaration that you can find in the website is the center and the base of all the actions that are being developed after it. So if you are not familiar with this, I invite you all to check the declaration. This declaration is in the website and can be signed by persons, people, or by institutions. And I am proud to say that almost all neuroscience societies in Latin America have signed this declaration and are somehow part of this ALBA network. One way of addressing inequities in neuroscience that ALBA understood very early is that it has to pay attention to different challenges, barriers, and problems that different regions have. So this network has worked paying attention to that in different parts of the world, and has somehow expanded the definition of diversity and consolidating and sharing the experience and information among these groups and regions. So one very important point is this, and we are today in a webinar that is focused in one specific region. Another very important goal of ALBA is supporting career development. And ALBA has been very active in doing this in almost every session or congress or meeting that the neuroscience community has done in the recent years. So finally, the big message I would like to give is that ALBA is worthy to be involved with, and there is plenty ways of being part of this. So please try to look for more information, and we are all open to give you more information and to help you around the information we have already gathered. ALBA has been supported from the start by many important institutions that are now kind of partners of its actions. And of course, IBRO is one of those. So moving now to IBRO, the other organization that is part of the organizing this webinar, all in the neuroscience community across the world know what IBRO has done in the last decades. It is a true organization for the development of neuroscience across the world. And it has been given opportunities to many persons, scientists, groups, and societies across the world to develop neuroscience. It is, of course, very natural to IBRO to support and be like a joint partner in ALBA, and this has occurred since its beginning. So as you probably know, IBRO is organized also in regional committees, and the Latin American Regional Committee is one of those. And it is very worried and has been historically in the access to science from all parts of the world, and it does this through opportunities for all career stages in programs that have been supporting science in different regions for the last decades. And of course, also by the publishing in these two journals that belong to IBRO and that are very important, not only for science contributions, but also to contribute the types of thoughts, reflections, and discussions that the global neuroscience community has. So we are here today because there has been a previous webinar organized by ALBA in 2021 focused on the Latin American community. This webinar was dealt with the awareness of the problems that the Latin American community in neuroscience had. So it is very good to have this second meeting in which IBRO is also part, and in which we are trying to move from awareness to the to share actions that have been developed ever since in different parts of Latin America. So before I leave I leave to you with the chair of this meeting, I would like to also address that one important issue that was diagnosed in this first ALBA webinar for Latin America was the barrier that the use of English as international language has for the Latin American neuroscience community. So I'm proud to say that today we have this webinar is the first to have like a simultaneous translation, and you can do that by using this tool that it is in more options of the Zoom meeting, in which you can turn on the captions and have captions in the language that you like to hear. We decided we will all speak in English, but you will have the translation to the language you prefer. So with this, let me introduce Adrian Palacios. Adrian Palacios is professor at the Universidad of Valparaíso in Chile. He is researcher in the Centro Interdisciplinario de Neurociencias of this university and the chair of the Latin American Regional Committee of IBRO. He will be chairing this webinar, and please, Adrian, get into the stage.
Okay, thank you very much, Ana, for your introduction to this webinar. This is very important for us. So I'm gonna share my screen now, here and here. Oh, okay. I'm Adrian Palacios. I'm the chair of IBRO LARC and also professor of the Universidad de Valparaíso, and I have been in this regional committee LARC for now almost 6 years. So it's very wonderful to now just to have this webinar where we can share experience and an old work that has been carried by member of the IBRO LARC in terms of the survey with the gender in neuroscience woman in Latin America. So now we see this second webinar where we can just go further. And I want to just, my intervention now is going to be on the role of an actual action of scientific society, higher education institution, and also government, because we have like three level, I'm gonna here, three level of interaction where the actions, the real action for diversity and inclusion to promote this two field. And it's very important that neuroscience society or science society in general just articulate their own results with the university and the university with the government and vice versa. So the main idea of this webinar is just to program to deliver clear example and best practices that we have been just working through LARC with the society of neuroscience. So the idea today just to share this experience, the real one, what are their outcomes, how this can be also translated to the bigger part of the society. And the idea here is that go to this case study is going to be very good example of the good and the bad. Sometimes not everything is right in this first try. So, but when we share this experience, we can just move and create new tools and new results and so on. And what is the main idea also is that this webinar also is have this empower to neuroscientists in Latin America by just taking this practical knowledge and they apply this knowledge that has been carried in different countries to maybe adapting them to their own country and situations. The first thing that we have done with LARC is just a very short survey to the neuroscience society in Latin America with just 4 questions. And has your society signed the ALBA Network Declaration? Does your society have a code of conduct? Has your society carried out diversity, equity, inclusion initiative in the last 2 years? And does your society have plans to carry out diversity, equity, inclusion initiative in the near future? And here the answer has been like 100% for the last two. That means that they already carry some initiative, and they expect to do this in the future. That is a very good result. And not all of them have signed yet, but the majority, yes, have signed the ALBA Network Declaration. And the code of conduct is something that we are like, we need to work a little bit more on that, because not all of the societies, they already have that. I mean, this is something that for the progress and for the maturation of the society is something that is very, I mean, is needed, to explicitize what they are expecting for their all members, in terms of this promotion for diversity and inclusion. And here are some examples of the type of action that the society has carried. For example, the first one is in the gender gap. This is from Colombia. They have organized an event, Escucho, Observo, Hago. That is an introduction to neuroscience, but is directed to girls and adolescents, with some, I mean, just to motivate them and to create some explanatory and interactive conference where they can share their own experience. And also they have organized the Brain Week 2023, is something that is gonna come. And this is project for this year. For FALAN also, that is the Federation of Latin America Society, that is also an organization that has members, all of the society of Latin America. So they are like a big hub just to canalize some of these actions. So this we have experienced last year in Belém. It was the annual, or every 4 years, the FALAN organized a big congress that the last year was in Belém in Brazil. So we have experienced the people that attend there. I mean, many opportunity to share with members all of the experience for neuroscience and initiative in this area. So there was some very good, meeting, and also we have a lot of, talk about the diversity and inclusion. And also from Uruguay, they declared that they have already, endorsed the ALBA Network goals, and also they are helping other societies or like FALAN to create their own code of conduct. So this is what we see here, that also the societies start to be connected between them, and just to start to sharing this, because we need to share. This is the most important concept that we can say, that if we don't share our own experience in our country, it's very difficult to just to jump to the level of the one continent. That's where we would like to see many activities promoting diversity and inclusion. And also, like IBRO LARC, this is their example. Each year we have the support for 4 or 5, initiative, and here is an example of the last 2 years, and on this area. And we see here from, projects from Argentina, Uruguay, Honduras, Chile, Brazil, Colombia, and there are the name. All of these are like projects that are is supposed to work in their own countries, and also to give openness to all of the members of the continent and the world, because it is something that we also promote. Is just this experience on this project also need to be shared to everyone that is willing to to listen to that. And here is another example that I want to go more faster, is that also there are initiative that is not in the level of the neuroscience or science society, but is more like in the interface between government and university. And here I want to take one case study that we have in Chile, and that is called Innovation in Higher Education in Gender, and it's called InES Gender for the short. And this is one nice initiative that started 3 years ago now, and is just to call, I mean, a state or private higher education institution that are recognized by the state, just to apply to this project to get funding to implement their own solutions to their own institution and with their own cultural, history. That is very important, because the idea is just to develop capacities for this implementing and development plan to reduce gender gaps. So this is we need to do this at the level of the universities, in the sense that Chile, there are like a 30 between, there are 30 main university, but we can extend to 60 more general universities. So it's a very large number of institutions in Chile that are all along the country. So that is very important that they all get involved in this kind of the project. And here's the example of this grant. General objective is to develop capacity for the implementation of undeveloped plan to reduce gender gap. I just repeat here, in the areas of science and technology based in research and development in higher education institutions. And this is, oriented to, to go to this gap between women and males or non-binary, situations. And their specific objectives are implementing this initiative with action to ensure access, development, and leadership of women in science and innovation system, to promote research and development that integrate the gender. This is very important, just to go there, and also develop capacities within the institution to monitor and execute action that allow effective progress toward gender equality in science and innovation. That means we need to, in the end, to have the way to measure the impact of this project. That I repeat, it has started 3 years ago. And here, what are the expected results on for this grant project is to have best practices, to develop studies and research, increase participation and promotion of women in research and development, train academic and scientific community, training and educating areas of gender equality and research and development, socialize this result, and also create new statistics to create new policies that the government and the institution can take just to promote better tools for the future. And this is a resume that InES Gender is target the university in research and development, and has a budget that is very important. It has $500,000 for project for 3 years funding, and today we already have like all of this university. There has been like 2 contests, two application cycles, 21, 22, and now we are in the 2023. All of these are the universities that already got this grant, so they are implementing this, this grant in their own institutions, and this is all along the country, and and the idea of this, this project, just I repeat, is to build a network to overcome diversity and inclusion through science in the region. It's not only neuroscience, but it's science. And this is maybe a good example also of the initiative that countries can also take, just to, to work together and to overcome diversity and inclusion. Let's see if we, and here, okay, this was my first part of the talk. Now I wanna introduce our panelists that they wanna also talk about some real experience in this area that they have been carried in their own country. So we have Lina Becerra for the Pontificia Universidad Javeriana and Universidad del Valle. She is president of the Colegio Colombiano de Neurociencias COLNE. Professora Elaine del Bel from the University of the Sao Paulo, Dental School of Ribeirão Preto, Brazil. She also is advisory member of ALBA and also member of IBRO LARC, Latin America Regional Committee. So we share with Elaine a lot of experience on that. And Dr. Ana Quaglino from Equity and Gender Promotion, the Facultad de Ciencias Exactas y Naturales, Universidad de Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to give the the time now to Lina. If you want to start.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to thank you to Adrian, ALBA Network, and IBRO for the invitation to this panel. I am going to share my screen now. Let me know if you are seeing. Okay. The Colombian College of Neurosciences wants to present its advances on the road to the generation of inclusion, diversity, and equity in our local neurosciences. We have some strategies. The first strategy is within the framework of the dissemination and social appropriation of knowledge. In an attempt to contribute to epistemic justice, or also called knowledge-based justice, according to which access to scientific knowledge favors freedom of interpretation, facilitates the self-management of human beings, and gives new meaning to decision-making. So we started the path to diversity on the year 2021 with the gender gap event of Professor Zulma Dueñas. I listen, I observe, I do, an introduction to neuroscience research, an invitation for Colombian girls and adolescents. As Adrian said, this was a motivational, explanatory, and interactive conference series. Later, we established the so-called methodological gatherings. These constitute a series of specific conference on methods used in state-of-the-art labs. The special thing about this activity is that it is supported by members of the Colombia diaspora, our scientific diaspora, which allows us to have them in Spanish, guaranteeing coverage and access to our students, the majority of whom are Colombians, but also from other Latin American countries. This is a unique opportunity of virtual interaction with experienced researchers, in which the academic environment is favored. It is facilitated for students to ask specific questions and learn research methods that can broaden the region of the brain. Last but not least, it is starting this year, and after 10 years of constant but isolated efforts, we managed to carry out the Brain Awareness or Awakening Week in Colombia in a unified way, supporting and identifying 32 local processes distributed in 8 municipalities of the country, with more than 2,000 people reached. This is an outreach activity for the general community that brings scientific knowledge about the brain to different academic but also sociocultural settings. And it is traversed by a vision of breaking gaps. This year, the focus was the economic gap, and the main place to use the resources was Technological University of Pereira in order to decentralize the resources. Interventions were carried out in low-income educational institutions of the city of Pereira. Our second strategy is organized scientists against the government. Also, most scientific organizations have objectives towards the professional development of their members and the dissemination of scientific knowledge among their members, they are generally recognized by the state, and there is a dialogue between the parties. So we can cultivate those already established relationships between the organizations of scientists and the decision makers in order to demonstrate that to decision makers that the importance of our voice. Last year, the COLNE began a process of rapprochement with the current government of Colombia, initially with the Ministry of Science and Technology. This dialogue allowed us to be considered as a support body for science and technology activities promoted by the ministry, as is the case of gender equity programs in science. Likewise, we have received the support of the ministry to the creation of the National or Colombian Neuroscience Network, a COLNE initiative, which allows the relationship between clinical, scientific, and rehabilitation associations of binding topics to neurosciences, like neurosurgery, clinical neurology, psychiatry, etc. Our third strategy is our neurodiaspora project. Diaspora groups can broaden dialogues between scientific knowledge and socio-environmental realities in Latin America by giving voice and value to the context, to the conditions, and to the environments of professional development. They bases value collaboration between the global north and the global south. This is because outstanding scientists are already established in the host country, generally for the global north, and also have privileged information about the country of origin, in this case, Colombia, in the global south, which facilitates the support that scientists from a country with equipped labs and resources can offer to students and scientists in general from the native country. In the group of diasporic scientists, we currently have 69, with whom we are in constant contact. They are present in our events. They lead our methodological gatherings, they help to obtain economic resources, and they are designing the mentoring system. We will soon have a web page through which our students can be accompanied by the scientists according to their particular research interests. Our next meeting will take place in Washington within the framework of the Society for Neuroscience meeting, and will be at the Colombian Embassy at the United States. We will also have a Christmas meeting in Bogota with those members who travel to see their families. The fourth strategy is the knowledge dialogue. We are learning about inclusion, equity, intersectionality, and sustainability. We have held several events. We put neuroscience in dialogue with other biological science, but also with social and human science, in a search for to gain some perspective on issues that people who work in science that not necessarily know about. So far, our members have talked with philosophers, sociologists, politicians, and experts on public health, inequality, poverty, gender, and racism. This conversation will promote experiences in science for the community and help us to focus on prevalent problems. In this way, we hope we will be able to articulate science, health, and education, know what to disclose, what to investigate, and what to help to prevent in relation with our territory. We want also to invite you to our next event. It's going to be the Gender Roundtable, will be held within the framework of the 4th Latin American Workshop in Computational Neuroscience 2023 in a decentralized city too, in the city of Envigado. It will have the participation of 5 women, experts in computational neuroscience. Additionally, travel grants will be awarded to low-income female students from anywhere in the country who are interested in the field for computational neuroscience, an area where the gender gap is still very high. Thank you for listening to me. That's all.
Thank you very much, Lina, for this very, very interestingly outcome about your initiative. And I'm going to have the time just in the end just to talk a little bit more. And now I'm going to give the screen to Elaine.
First of all, I would like to say thank you to all of you, to Adrian, Ana, to ALBA, and IBRO to organize this nice talk, nice meeting. It is really important for all of us, no? Maybe, I don't know if everybody knows, but Brazil is going out of, I would say, a dark period, but doesn't matter. And so now we are starting, the country is starting organizing things concerning science, inclusion, and all these main problems. Okay, I choose today to talk about something that is happening at the University of São Paulo. Specifically, is the first university that is doing something in this sense, okay? So there is now the University of São Paulo was founded in 1934, is the largest public university in Brazil, and we have undergraduated more or less 58,000 students and graduated 28,000. You can see here the campus in Ribeirão Preto, and also below the law school in São Paulo. That is a very old building, a beautiful one. Okay, this university last year created a rectory of for inclusion and belonging, and this rectory has a special aim, a special objective that is just a second. I hate this. Okay, that is sorry. I'm really sorry. Because the university felt that the world is changed. We need to do, the university needs to do things, okay? So the policies based on equity includes to look after mental health, socioeconomic, ethno-racial, cultural, and gender issues, and also accessibility for people with disabilities. That is a way to improve the forms of inclusion and relations between the students, okay? Just to show you some examples of what have been done in this short period, no? You can see a program for postdoc fellowships just for women, Black women. And you can see also that the university has got a commission that is acting at the entrance of the students, or also in the new people, new professors, new lecturers that are going to be at the university. There is now a commission that will give value concerning, you know, women and Black people and Indian people, because this population in Brazil is a really big one. There is actually not just in University of São Paulo, it is for a while at the Federal University in Brazil also a program of quota. I mean, there is the share of, for example, 20% of the places at undergraduate courses are for students that came from public schools. 20% of the places are for Black people, from Indians, and so on. So it's a kind of political thing to share the knowledge and the university in a university that is completely free for everybody, no? And also you know that the word, not the word, but Brazil is, we have, you know, some very bad episodes at some schools, violence, and at the university. And it's difficult for the students to work, to deal with those things, okay? So, but the quotas, the part of the places to share for people of women, and also that doesn't have economical conditions, it is done for a while, but now it is official, okay? One of the special programs created by this university, it is related to the permanence of the students at the university. For example, some of the students that have not good economical situation, they just leave the university in the middle of the course, okay? So now there is fellowships. Since 2080, fellowships for those students, for undergraduate and for graduated students. They have help with catering, with a place where to live, and also for living, okay? That is a program that is started last year, and this is unique in the university, okay? That is the way to reduce the dropout because of economical difficulties that is common in our life. Also, the university, this rectory is, and the university also, is really worried with mental health. And there is a new program that's called ECOS. And this program means listening, welcome, guidance. And so there is a group of specialized people that there is a care network, an institutional support for students, not just for the students, but the working people and everybody. After COVID, the problems with mental health are really, it means really increased in Brazil, in the university, not just at the University of São Paulo, but those programs are incredibly helping people, no? And this is really, really excellent program also. There is a postdoctoral scholarship that was created last year, 2022, and just for Black people. So why for postdoctoral scholarship? Why that? Because that is a way to make to give the possibility to them to be competitive in concourse when they are trying to get a position in the university. Okay, so it is for 1 year starting and can become a 2 years program. So the university started with 50 scholarships by year, but it can be increased. And another word with that, there is this rectory is connected to women university women office. So this is really worried with gender and ethno-racial equality. You know that population in Brazil is composed for many kind of people. So it is something really useful for ladies, girls, and men also. And this program, this office, is connected with United Nations Women regarding the He for She program. Another thing that the university is trying to do very hard is to have a daycare and primary education. As you can see, the unities attend children from 4 months to 6 years old. It's a way, and the undergraduate, the graduated, and the staff can have a compete or try to get a place for the children. So the women, the man, the woman can work, and this place is inside the university, so help a lot to them, no? And something that was beautiful, and it's really touching, but there is a research center for music performance in one unity of University of São Paulo, Ribeirão Preto, and they organized a concert to increase the Black community and its artists' invisibility in history. So with the University Philharmonic Orchestra. And so last year in November, they organized this concert by Black and Brown Brazilian composers and poets. It was something really, really incredible in the university. That's it. It's not too much, but that is what the university is doing nowadays. It's possible to do. And we all hope that in 3 years, 4 years, everything is going to change, and maybe we, as a society of neuroscience and other societies, can have, you know, some interaction with the government, and besides the interaction between all scientists. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elaine, to share your experience also in this very nice initiative from the level of the university in Sao Paulo, and also mentioned that everything is important here in terms of the care, racial diversification, student retention. And now we're gonna discuss this by then also. Maybe we can take a little bit more time there. And now we're gonna move to Ana Quaglino with her presentation.
Hello, everybody. Well, thank you in the first place to the IBRO ALBA for this invitation to talk to its community. Briefly, I will put in context how the feminist movement strongly pushed the generation of specific devices to approach gender violence at the university level, as well also as legislative level with the sanction of Ley Micaela, the Micaela Law. Afterwards, I will say what this law is about and how this law was incorporated as a new policy at universities, and which discussions and advances it generated in regard to gender policies, and in particular in the case of Facultad de Ciencias Exactas y Naturales in Argentina, no? The University of Buenos Aires. I will also mention throughout the talk some resistances that we found, and we still found, and also name at last some regulatory frameworks related to women and diversity rights that we have in my country. So, this slide intends to show you how the social movements, in this case, I'm going to focus on the feminist movement, but we can think also about all the social movements, small ones, middle ones, societies that can track and push towards new policies regarding gender and diversity in particular. So we are going to see how this pushed events and policies at university levels, how these university levels also push up within the feminist movement towards the legislative level, and this in a virtuous circuit, no? So in Argentina, the feminist studies at academia have more than 30 years. That is a long story, but we can also see another one shorter and recent that has to do with the creation of the first protocols to address gender violence back in 2014. That's why this slide starts here. The first protocol in Argentina was created by the University of Comahue in Rio Negro, South Argentina, and it was designed and implemented to specifically address a situation of gender violence that was occurring at that time. Also, at 2014, University of another two universities, Rosario and Universidad Nacional de San Martín, generated these protocols, and these were pioneer normatives to work with gender violence, thinking in the university with a pedagogic perspective. No, we are pedagogic institutions, so the way that we address violence, gender violence or other violence, has to be different and has to be specifically treated. So one of the important myths that began to be break was that those people who access higher education do not exercise or suffer violence. These imaginaries around self-sufficient and empowered women and educated, critical and well-thinking men are the first myth that we have to tear down when working with violence in higher education institutions. And that put in our faces that we had to do something. So that's why universities' protocols started to be created. In 2015 in Argentina, there was a girl, Chiara Paez, that was murdered by her boyfriend. She was 14 years old. And this was, in English we say, the straw that breaks the camel's back, la gota que rebalsó el vaso. And this unified the feminist movement in the 3rd of June in the Ni Una Menos march. So this mobilization continued every 3rd of June till today, and revealed the collective hartazgo, let's say wariness with respect to gender violence. This social demand permeated very strongly in the universities, national university systems, and catalyzed the creation of more protocols to work with this type of violence. And also in the Argentinian institutions related to science, let's say, for example, CONICET. At the University of Buenos Aires, the protocol was implemented in 2015. And this tool, you have to think that these tools were very heterogeneously used, and for example, University of Buenos Aires didn't assign a specific budget to this to implement these protocols or to address these things. And in 2015, in the Facultad de Ciencias Exactas y Naturales, 2016, there was a political decision to create a program that is Programa por la Igualdad de Género, GENEX, to implement these protocols. I coordinate this program since then, and though the path to obtain resources was difficult, and it was always a positive slope in this faculty towards we have to have resources, because this type of violence need to be addressed with an interdisciplinary group, psychological experts and social workers. And so we start with a little program, and that was start growing till today. In 2022, the new authorities decided to create a secretary for promotion of equity and gender. I will detail our growth there at the end of the talk. And in relation to what was happening at the university levels, you can see in September 2015, universities created Red Interuniversitaria por la Igualdad de Género y contra las Violencias. This network for this specific theme then grew in 2018 and was, let's say, institutionalized in the National Inter-University Council. That's the place where university policies are designed. So that was a very important thing that happened, because it was the first time that gender policies were discussed at that level. So another thing I want to remark, and I think Adrian and the other speakers mentioned, is that the importance of the networking. No, we are building today. We are building networking, and all the advances that were made towards these policies and towards gender and diversity were done by strong networking that are in the interface. I think Adrian says that, between the social movements, society movements, scientific groups towards university policies, towards institutional policies, and for legislative pressure and law designs. So in April, I will come here to lay Micaela. In April 2017, Micaela Garcia was murdered in an Argentinian province, Entre Rios. It has a criminal, the man who killed her has a criminal record, sex abuse, and the struggle of her mother, his father, family, and friends, and the social impact that murder is generated in the Argentine society, give the pressure to sanction the Micaela Law. And this law said that the training for all the branches of the national state require training on gender violence and violence issue to the executive, legislative, and judicial powers. This is with intention to raise the awareness and promote cultural changes that help prevent gender violence and guarantee equal rights. So in this context, in May 2019, this RUGE, this network specifically to work gender policies in universities, decided to implement the Micaela Law at university levels. So it's like mandatory for all the people in the university, students, the teachers, not non-teaching, administrative, everybody has to be sensibilized towards gender policies and gender violence, and also know which are the instruments that can accompany you, give you advice if you are living such a situation. So in the Argentinian social context, the Micaela Law, and this small photo is the photograph when we did in 2019 the sensibilization in la Facultad de Ciencias Exactas y Naturales. 4,000 people of our community assisted to a series of talks that we invited experts from other parts of Argentina, experts from this theme, to give this sensibilization. It has generated, La Ley Micaela, it was very important because step towards raising awareness to combat gender violence, generated a focus on gender training, and help us to make the problem of gender visible, and to start thinking about which are the causes of this violence, not only to address and accompany people who are living it, but also to see why this is happening, and what things we have to make different, to change and to revise to avoid them. So the implementation of this law at university level also made essential to promote public debate on gender inequality and has promoted the creation of inclusive and equitable public policies also inside the university. And I will say that we could make surveys to see what the inequalities were, where the violence were generating, these specific violences. We also make teaching training courses to mainstream gender perspective at the curricula, talks and awareness activities. And so last year in our faculty, there was a decision to create, as I told you at the first time, the Secretary of Promoción de la Equidad y Género, and now we have 3 different programs. As Elaine says, we not only address gender violence, but and think about gender and diversity perspective and policies, but also we have an accessibility program to see what are the barriers that the institution is putting there for our students and our teachers and all our community to try to bring them down. And also we have another program here, the last one, you see like this network, this like un entretejido, I don't know how to say it in English, that is to sustain people in our community. It has to do with other violences that doesn't have to do with gender and also with mental health. So I think that the feminist movement, the gender violences, the fact to open a listening window in the universities and institutions made us hear other problems also, and make institutions to you see them, you have to do something with them. So here we are in Exactas y Naturales. So that's it. These are, at last, these are all the regulatory laws in Argentina that has to do with gender, women rights. So this Micaela Law that you see here in 2019, has a context of an Argentinian promotion of rights, equality rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ana, for this very, very motivating history. I mean, social history that actually is something that we have seen in Latin America. I mean, the social movement in the feminists has pushed the barriers of policy, and now we are seeing this policy being implemented with some, I mean, some own history that the institution can just grab that, it just turn to a very better policy for the future. And Chile and other countries has the same experience. So thank you very much. It was very wonderful. And now I think we have the time for question, that the question can come from, I mean, the audience, people that have already asked question. And but we want to start with some general question. We're a few minutes between us in the sense that are how, I mean, I have not some of the questions during this, I mean, during the talk, but what I mean is, what is your experience from your own countries in terms of the neuroscience societies or the universities or the government? We have seen all of these 3 levels here. How we can move, I mean, how we can move from what we have now and to the future. I mean, how we go to this gender gap that now we see is more complex because you have students that are also involved. There are also violence, I mean, barriers, all of the, I mean, they go to the university or the higher education institution is not easy for women or minorities. So we have a very complex, intricate level of interaction. I mean, how you can you make like a few recommendations of how we can move to the future, just in short, just to, if you would like to, I mean, Lina or Ana or Elaine would like to share some of your thoughts on that. I don't know, Lina, you wanna, or Ana? Ana. having.
Thank you. It's a very maybe simple one. It's like I think that we have in different levels, let's say small societies, institutes, research institutes, that when the gender and diversity theme is available to be problematized, let's say, because in some parts these things are not it's not good to speak about this. But if this is this window is open, you connect with what maybe other institutions, other universities that has an experience on this path, share it with you, because this feminist movement, it's very generous and it's very like eager to share the experience and to interact and make suggestion of what was wrong, what maybe, well, suggestions. So connect and see what others are doing and try to do it with these connections.
Any other thought on that, or Elaine?
If I can say something, I agree completely with Ana. We can see what Colombian people is doing. That is wonderful. And the first feeling is to make people feel that they have the right, that is possible. So with that, we can do whatever, no? Because they're human being, and if we have a motivation, if we want to do something, if you just have, a chance, that's it. That's it. And I think it is nice what is happening in Argentina. I'm really, really enchanted with Colombia was able to do with this articulation with all the politicians. I want to congratulate Zulma, the past president, and also in Chile and Uruguay. It is something that is happening for many years, but it's nice to see that in Colombia, and also to see the evolution of the thing in Argentina. Very nice. So it is possible, and everybody must to know that it is possible, something like that. Okay, Adrian, if you think about what to do exactly, there is no recipe. People can create those things, is what I think. No, we can create. Thank you.
May I jump in the discussion, Adrian, because
Sure,
I'm not. I've been following in the Q&A box and also the chat, and I think that what you are discussing right now is in line with several of the questions that we have, and also the opportunity that these webinars bring us to have like definition of actions to be taken, which would be like next actions. And I think that at least there are two things that come to my mind after listening to you and to the questions that we have. And one of this is like the protocols of the code of conducts. We have like heard from Adrian's presentation that not all the Latin American neuroscience societies do have. And this is something that we can somehow commit to do together. I would like to remind you that FALAN, our federation, does have a code of conduct, and that at first we can address it. We can somehow be like endorse this code of conduct and adapt it to each of our local or national societies. And that is something that we can start with. The other thing that came out is how to share the information, the data that we have been collecting. There is a very interesting question from Caterina, and I need to read her name, Paulo, asking for advice on how to systematize and scale up data collection on the impact of our initiatives, because this is also happening. We are doing many things, but we are not having like a systematic and monitorizing what we are doing and sharing this monitorization. So I leave you with these two questions. that somehow are inspired in the questions that we have got during the speeches.
Maybe I can jump on that, because I mean, it's something that very important. When I mentioned this initiative that is from Chile, that is called InES, gender, I mean, one of the, principal, focus in these grants is to have something that you can monitor, the progress of the objective in the future. I mean, it's something that is, you don't have that, you don't have practically the way to collect experience, the good one, the bad one. Sometimes something doesn't happen the way that you are, projecting. So this is very important to have this. Accountability and how your objective and your gaps, the gaps has moved or not moved in time. And I think this is idea that we have been also started working with Falan to create a platform for interaction. That where people from the region can just subscribe to the platform, say what they are doing, what are their labs, but also one idea now is maybe also to have information, to put information about the initiative, the good initiative that IBRO is also, doing in the region. And it's something that we need to create. We need this database where to collect it, see what happened, and then just move on. It's something that I would like to comment right now. Maybe Ana, you also maybe have a comment on that.
Yes. Here in Argentina, at that time, 2015, there was this network that's what's called Red Interuniversitaria por la Igualdad de Género y contra las Violencias, that intended to collect what each of us were doing in our universities and systematize it, and also put it available to others, because sometimes you see what others are doing and you inspire yourself to do it, or your institution. So it is also not only an important tool to systematize, but also to build network. So maybe there is, regarding to policies, we in Facultad de Ciencias Exactas, regarding to gender violence, we are systematizing specifically what type of violence we are dealing with other universities. But I wanted to tell you the experience of La RUGE that is doing this systematization of policies. And also the Ministry of Science and Technology is also asking institutions what are doing regarding to gender policies to systematize. I can track that and see what I can share, if I can share it with you.
Thank you very much. Any other thought for the the panel?
I will jump in again, because I am reading the questions in the chat, and also because I think that one important thing that Ana Quaglino showed us is that the training, I think there are courses that train people. Now this is, it is in the Micaela Law. Everyone that has people in charge or has like a leadership in these institutions need to have like a course. And I think that is a very constructive way of building this system, because it begins not by the punishment, but for the capacitation, for the training. And so I would also like to know if that is something that we can translate to other societies and the way it was instrumented. Do we need a law to do this, or can we do it at different levels and different countries?
Elaine? Over there.
I'm sorry, Ana. Could you repeat? I couldn't listen to that.
The question is more for Ana Quaglino, and it's how the training that the Micaela Law now is,
Okay. Sí.
it can be translated to other countries or to other levels of the society.
When at that time we had to make this since the Micaela courses to Exactas community, we have a political goal, and that was say to our institution, this is important. So it was like a massive sensibilization, although experts came here and talk and make this activity, it was massive. And I also did every Micaela course that was there at CONICET at the different levels. And what when I say I say like our team, sorry, our team realized is that for our community that it's very like how do you say, la pertenencia, no? It needs to be something more done by exactas for exactas. Let's say from our community, think by our community to our community. And so we make a Micaela course presencial, not virtual. It was like a small group and with an intimacy that allowed us to speak about problems. So if I had to make a suggestion, and now all the Micaela Law we are planning are small groups and we bring experts, but we think it with the experts and we tell them, ojo, our community is resistant to hear palabras machismo, feminismo. Don't say, it's like the strategic communication, like to get to the message, no? And I think that's maybe it's important for us to co-build this training with the experts. Maybe the experts are not from neuroscience, but we need to be there because we know how our neuroscience community is and how to get to them.
Lina? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I am a little slower, but I was thinking about the question of what will be the single more important next action towards diversity, equity, and inclusion in our country. And I think that Colombia is crossed by a series of complex socioeconomic problems, and maybe the research agenda should be nurtured by the problems of the territory, you know? So that's a very simple way to start to investigate in the relevant problems in our country, like violence. In neuroscience, you can work on traumatic brain injury, dementia, or maybe increase the approach to these problems in social neurosciences, for example. So I think that's a simple way to start to face the fact that not all the investigation we do is science for science sake. Maybe the basic scientific principle, we must to move of our issues and our labs and to go to the territory communities and see what is happening there. I think that is our challenge now.
I was looking to comment on Ana last intervention too, because I mean it's something that is about the expectatives, you know. When you create, I mean, the movement, social movement that has all of the right just to, I mean, to create or to push the new normative, new protocols at the level of the institution, then this sometimes happens, you know. You have this new protocol or this new law, but when you start to implement it, the law or the protocol, it's very slow, because I mean it's slow in terms of the person that received the violence. It needs some very fast, I mean, intervention there, but you face that the normative are slow because it is an advocates and group of persons that meet together. So this is something that we don't share always. I mean, the implementation of this new protocol with how effective they are. I mean, because they're low in terms of that they need to go fast. No, you have something. Do you have this experience too in Argentina or in Brazil or in Colombia when you have the protocol, but then you face the other side, just how fast they are, I mean, and effective they are.
I took my microphone. A ver, yes, when you can have a law and you can never implement it because of the resistance. No, it's like we had the law and the resistance to its implementation was very strong. Also, I can speak about the Micaela Law and how we send the mail inviting our community to assist, and we receive a lot of mails responding, I don't know why this is mandatory. I prefer to spend my time learning chemistry or learning molecular biology or specific courses. I have to lose my time with this gender like brainwash. A lot of resistance. But when we make the talk, no, and we speak with the people of our community, and they saw that we were not the gender police, and that we formed the community, and we were trying to make a cultural change, slowly understanding our limitations, our culture, and I think that was a very good way to start, because resistance will always be there. But if you can empathize with the people that are in the gray area, not black or white, but you can llamar su atención, and show them that it was not a sanctionary protocol, but we were trying to change the culture and make a space to interact and see the problems. That was positive, but it needs a lot of dedication and time, and it's slow. It's like slow, but it makes us slow steps and our strong steps. That's what I see.
Thank you very much.
I will jump in to read some of the questions that we have in the Q&A. For example, Margaret Franke is asking the concept to solve the problem of internationality in science and English versus Spanish, Portuguese language. And she asks, how can internationality be promoted and thus diversity fostered in this sense?
Maybe one way today is just to look at that. I mean, this application like the one that we have today. No, I mean, you have simultaneous translation, and that is something that we're going to expect for the future with all of these artificial intelligence tools to translate. I think we hope that's going to give more opportunity to everyone when the language is a barrier. No, as I would say that this is the way to do that. I mean, just to use it the way that we are using this today in this webinar here. But it's an opinion, and we have like maybe 4 minutes to end. No, so maybe each one of you would like to say something about it. Was a nice question also about, I think maybe Lina already mentioned something about it. It's about what you think would be the most important diversity, equity, inclusion, I mean, goals for the future. I mean, for what's going to happen, I mean, this year or the next year. What will be your recommendation?
I think we have to articulate this interface between science, health, and education to think that they are a same team. We have to do translational science more and more, and to disseminate and to take this to the territory and to generate spaces to something that we call this is called the skills from health literacy, like the capability of a person to appropriate of his own health, recognizing elements derived from science. So how science can contribute to the human development at this way. That's the importance of dissemination and social appropriation of knowledge. I think that that is our focus at this moment, and we hope we can contribute to this.
Thank you very much. Ana?
Ana,
Silva.
Okay.
Ana. Sí, Ana Silva. Next is Ana.
okay, we have only 2 minutes more and we need to keep time, but I think that if you go through the questions in the chat and the Q&A, there's there's one common thing, that the need for recommendations, tips, sharing, networking. And I think that maybe we can do like a commitment of what happened today, the sharing of all these experiences, and also to maybe gather after this webinar to somehow do like a memo of all the ideas, to have the time to answer the questions that were unanswered during this, some of them very specific, but to try to come to a recommendation chart of things to do next. And maybe that would be very useful for all the societies and also that are gathered in this meeting, and also very useful for ALBA and IBRO as a guide to understand more the way they can help and promote programs towards this mission. And so maybe if you agree, I would really like to have an extra meeting after, and to go through all the questions that remained unanswered, and to try to have this guidelines for the future.
Yes, thank you very much. We will do that. And I think the time is over, so I mean, it's something we need to close. And I would like just to thank you very much, all of you, the panelists and people that attend the webinar. This is still something going on. I mean, we need to still working, sharing, but it's the only way that we can just move on, is just to have this webinar. And then back, IBRO LARC, our regional committee also is willing, I mean, is very always happy to receive new initiative. We discuss that in the group, we create new tools just to move. So IBRO and ALBA Network now is also, I mean, gonna be also supporting all of this activity, that the webinar, and also just the new tools and grant that we can create, just to support more initiative in the area of the diversity inclusion in all of the regions. So thank you very, very much, and see you next time.